Hey everyone, it's Laura, the founder and chief visionary officer of Blanket Safe. Today I want to discuss what we should actually be expecting when we waterproof horse blankets. Let's get started. So, I've noticed over the past few weeks there has been an increase of complaints about horse blanket waterproofing. I've seen complaints on new horse blankets and I've seen complaints from laundries as well. And here's the fact that horse blanket waterproofing is an expectation that cannot be met. The problem is that we are waterproofing a horse blanket that has breathable fabric. Again, it is fabric and it's breathable. So no, we cannot make it plastic. We don't want to block those pores that help the horse blanket to breathe, which can be done with wax and silicone-based products. What we do want to do is allow the blanket to repel water for as long as possible before taking it on. And this is a problem that we have. And there are a lot of factors that go into how long a horse blanket will repel water before absorbing it in. So let's discuss those. There are many factors that will either help or hinder the horse blanket's ability to repel water during the wet season. I'm going to be talking about the three main factors that I like to focus on, which is age of the blanket, denier of the fabric, and the quality of the blanket itself. So the first factor I want to consider today is age of the blanket. The age of the blanket plays a huge factor in how long and how well that horse blanket will repel water. As the horse blanket is used, it is impacted by several elements throughout that 3 to 6 months of wear. So you've got sun, you've got snow, you've got rain, you've got dirt, you've got mud, you've got urine and manure, you've got horses playing and rolling and scratching. All of that breaks down that factory applied waterproofing. It also breaks down the fabric. So it starts tearing those fibers apart and it makes water an easier access into the blanket itself. There's not much we can do to change the age of a blanket. However, what you can do is after that first season of use, make sure you're applying a water repellent coating. Now, when I say coating, I do not recommend waxes or silicone bases. What they do is they may make it look like that water repellent treatment is there. However, you're covering all those pores that allow breathability. And I do not recommend that. I love Blanket Safe products because they wrap and they condition the fibers of the blanket. So they help smooth them down and make them not a tighter weave than it was, but it brings it back to that factory applied, as long as you're doing it from the beginning and you're maintaining your blankets. So don't let them get super dirty. Don't have them on all season without either hosing them off or spraying them down or letting them fully dry. Make sure you're caring for your blankets throughout the season. I see a lot of people who complain come around February, May, that their blankets are so dirty that water is getting in there. Well, my first response then would be to clean off that excess dirt. That dirt is really going to break apart that waterproofing, but it actually allows water into the blanket itself because that moisture is just sitting there. So don't do that. Waterproofing is not going to work. It's not like Teflon. It's not going to have mud roll off of it. It is just there to help your blanket repel water for a longer amount of time. So it is an important factor to consider. Also, if your age of the blanket is really high up there, say your blanket is 7, 10 years old, make sure that you are applying enough of this coating. Blanket Safe products cannot be overused, whereas wax and silicone products can have a buildup. Blanket Safe products really do fill in the gaps of where there is missing and helps condition those fibers back to how they were from the factory. So consider that when using your horse blanket or expecting that that 10-year-old horse blanket is going to have the same properties as a new one. You might need another coating. Just apply appropriately for the age of the blanket and make sure that you have the appropriate expectations. Just because you coat with a wax product does not mean that it's actually going to work if the age of the blanket is super old, because those fibers are all torn apart anyway. It just allows more water to get into that blanket quicker. Does that make sense? The next thing to consider is denier. Denier is how tightly that fiber is woven. The higher the denier, the better. You're going to get a longer lifespan with a 12 to 1600 denier blanket than you would with a 400 denier blanket. First off, it's not going to tear as much. And secondly, because those fibers are woven so tightly, it's going to be easier to treat with your waterproofing treatment, as well as it's going to be better repelling water as the years go on. The next factor to consider is the quality of the blanket, which is a really difficult factor to even talk about because there are so many options, brands, price points. What's available to you may not be available to somebody else. While you can purchase online, will it fit your horse because your horse is really round in the barrel and skinny in the shoulder? Who knows? So, factors to consider. Look for something that has a higher denier. Avoid that blanket that is $40. While it may seem like a great buy, chances are it's not going to last you for a second season, and then you're going to be left complaining that your waterproofing doesn't work while it was waterproof last year. So look for a product that might be middle ground. There are a lot of great brands out there that you're not breaking the bank for. I love Shire blankets, I love Horse blankets, Horze, and I also love Smart Pack blankets that come with a great guarantee, but the quality is also there. You're going to get a few years use out of these blankets rather than changing them every single year. So it's an important thing to consider depending on what your price point is, but I would highly suggest that you stay away from blankets that look like they would be a great buy right now, but in reality, probably will not last you for upcoming years or will fall apart, allow water in, be harder to waterproof, treat, wash as the years go on. Just something to consider. So let's review, because I just threw a ton of information at you and I hope it was easy to understand. Let's review our expectations first. We are waterproofing a breathable fabric, so it is not a tightly woven canvas and it's not plastic. We're doing the best we can. However, a lot of factors that go into how well that blanket will be waterproof and how long it will withstand water are things like the age of the blanket, how well you've maintained that blanket over the year, the quality of the blanket, and the denier of the blanket. So look for a blanket with a higher quality. Look for a blanket that has a higher denier. And maintain your blanket from the very beginning. Do not wait 5 years to think, maybe I really need to get it washed. Don't wash it in detergents. Don't wash it in hot water. Do the best you can to maintain that blanket throughout the season and starting year one. All of these factors go into how well that blanket will be waterproof for years to come. Again, it's waterproof. It's only going to be water resistant for a certain amount of time, and those factors can range. So if you have a lower quality blanket, maybe your horse can only be out 3 hours in a cold, wet rain. Higher quality blanket may be a day. It's hard to tell, it's hard to range, but I know laundries throughout the US, we're doing our very best. I know manufacturers are giving you a quality that you're buying for, so make sure that you're doing what you can and have those right expectations of what to expect when waterproofing a horse blanket or when getting a blanket that is waterproof. That you probably can't leave that horse out there for 3 days. That waterproof ability will only last a certain amount of time, and those factors range. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday season as well as a warm winter season. Avoid that rain. If you have questions, concerns, you want to know more, let us know. Contact us at blanketsafe.com or on social media at blanketsafe, and I'll be happy to help. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Keep it easy, friends. Bye.